Thank you guys for tuning in, Chris Quinteros. So let's get to it. So two things I want to talk about today are how much did I make in my first year as a carpenter apprentice here in California for Local 22. And then number two, some advice that I can give you guys who are just starting your career in a certain trade, whatever apprenticeship it is, whether it's electrical, plumbing, carpentry, laborers, so on and so forth. Well, number one, get straight to the point. Not too much overtime for me this first year as a carpenter apprentice, but for the most part, my first 6 months, I didn't call off, I didn't do anything. Like, I just showed up to work every time. I just showed up with a good attitude every time, every day. So that accumulated a good amount of work hours. So 75,000 is how much I made this year. So it's not too bad. And the reason why I'm so transparent about it is because honestly, there's people that just make a ridiculous amount of money that it just doesn't even really compare to what others make. Well, I've also gotten to the point where I've learned as a first year apprentice is you're working for the money, obviously, right? Paycheck to paycheck. But after doing a year of carpentry, I've realized that I want money to work for me now. I don't want to work for the money. I want the money to work for me now. And my main goal is to be financially free. So just buying a lot of books on how to become financially literate. So in other words, just be smart with my money and educate myself on how I can store my money instead of saving it, because if I just put it in the bank, it's not really going to do much. It's going to be there. But if I store it, there's a difference, because then I'm going to utilize it for something bigger in the long run. A lot of people use it to buy a car. A lot of people buy a house. But I'm trying to use it for investing. Number one, my number one advice is just handle your bills. If you don't live with your dad and your mom, then just handle your bills. Like, how much do you owe rent? Always just separate that. Number one thing, when you get paid, pay yourself first. A realistic amount of money, say if you get paid $1,000 a week, then you're probably not going to be wanting to pay yourself $800, and just live off $200. Unless you can do it, then hey, go ahead and do it. But maybe $300, maybe $200, maybe $150 is the most that you can do. So every week, $150 times 4, more or less about what, $600 you're gonna be saving a month. 600 times 12, about what, $7,200 a year. It's something. It's a start, right? Little by little. So maybe something more or less like that. You also have to kind of consider if you're going to be able to do taxes. Are you going to be able to pay your taxes? You have to pay yourself. You have to buy certain tools. Number two, just listen. Don't really talk too much. You may have an amazing idea on how to do a certain thing, but just analyze how they're doing it first. So you're going to be under a journeyman or a foreman, or possibly just someone who's an apprentice just like you, but with 2 years, 3 years under their belt. And you just want to listen. We have 2 years for a reason, so just stay quiet. Don't always be commenting like, oh, you could have done this, you could have done that. Just analyze it first. And then if you're a big shot, if you really have great ideas, then hey, here's my hammer and let me see you do it then. Because that's what's going to happen. If you talk so much and you're like, oh, you should have done it like this, oh, you should have done it like that. Well, then it's like, if I'm teaching you, I'm like, all right, then cool, show me how it's done then. And then if you're lucky, then you'll know how to do it. But honestly, just stay quiet. There will be a moment when you'll know when to speak up. In terms of safety, always speak up. There shouldn't be a reason why you should stay quiet. If it's safety, just be like, hey, I don't think you should be doing that. Or I don't feel good about this. Like, let's rethink that. Okay? So that's very important. Number three, just observe like how the good people are doing it. Like the great employees, just see how they work. It's okay to speak up, but more importantly, just stay quiet. I mean, number three is also the same. It's similar to number two. Just don't gossip. If someone tells you something about a coworker, like, hey, I don't like coworker A because he's lazy or because he's a bum, just don't really say anything about that, because maybe if they're talking behind their back, they're more likely, more or less gonna do that behind your back as well. So just stay quiet. Just cut it right then and there. You don't want to be known as someone who gossip or someone who loves to talk behind people's backs, and being a tattletale, or how we say, a snitch, because it's just, you just gotta observe and you just gotta see how things are. Construction has changed a lot culturally. A lot of guys in construction job site don't whistle at a woman when they see a woman cross the street or anything like that. But you know, at the end of the day, they are guys, and they are gonna say something like, oh man, you know, she's hot or whatever, blah blah blah, this and that. But like, they're gonna be hollering or whistling. They won't do that. 4, do people in construction do a lot of drugs? Do they do it on the job site? Personally, like, I haven't seen anyone, but like, I could smell like cigarettes or something, or maybe someone drinking. Yeah, possibly. But most important thing is like, you just do you. You focus on you. Obviously, like, if they're gonna be operating like a crane or a great all, or I don't know, something that's gonna be like life risking, like, hey, you know, just pull them aside and be like, hey, well, you okay? What's up? Like, can I help you? Like, I don't think you should be driving this or doing this or doing that. You have to be very mature about talking about people and also calling them out, because you don't know what they're going through mentally as well. Like, if you call them out, they might want to fight you or something. Number 5, also, don't take anything personal. When someone's telling you something like you're an idiot, you're stupid, this and that, don't take it personal, because we don't know what they're going through in their personal life at home that they bring it to the work. When in reality, someone who's mature won't do that. But there's all kinds of things in every career. There's people who are very mature, there's people who are really on top of their things, and there's people who are in between that, and people who are just the outliers, where there's just like, man, I don't want to be here, I hate my work, but I'm here anyway. They're always negative and just doing stuff. So also, one thing that I've also kind of like learned for me is just, I want to use my brain a lot more than my physical abilities, because right now I'm young at 28 years of age, but when I get like 35, 40, 50, I'm not gonna have the same speed or strength. Well, I would hope so, right? But realistically, I'm not gonna have that same speed or strength. So start using your brain a lot more right now. Start always having it critically thinking or analyzing, like, how can I make this easier? How can I do this better? Ask questions when there's a right moment. The right moment is essentially when everyone's quiet, or it's kind of slow at work, and you can kind of like go more in depth, like, hey, can you show me this trick, how you did that? Or why are you using this tool when the majority of people use a skill saw or use a sawzall? And then they'll tell you XYZ reason why they're doing that. 7, you want to also, another one, you always want to come in with a good attitude, like smiling, just walking with a good pace. You don't want to be walking super nonchalantly, because then if you're only like a weekend, 2 months, like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you gotta hustle. You gotta make up for what you don't know with hustle. So just hustle, just always be attentive, always try to help out people. Just number one thing, just try to show up on time to work. I mean, the most simplest thing, it's so crazy, but if you just show up, if you come to work, just come on time. Maybe like 10-15 minutes. If you really want to be cool, 30 minutes, whatever. I mean, honestly, I come like 15 minutes before. Like, I don't go overboard and come in like an hour earlier or something like that. That's just not me. Unless you're commuting and then you have to drive 2-3 hours, and it's different. But for the most part, 15 minutes I think is pretty good. Just always make sure you're taking care of yourself. Get some good sleep. Be very consistent with your sleep time. Monday through Friday, so you're gonna work. Go to sleep at 11 p.m. every day, or 10 p.m., 9:30, but have a set date of when you're going to go to sleep, and then have a set time of when you're going to wake up. Have breakfast. I would recommend having breakfast. You're going to be able to save some money instead of purchasing that coffee every day, or having to buy something at your local, sandwich shop or something to eat. It's always extra money that you're going to be spending, and it adds up year in and year out. Try to pack your lunch as well if you can. Something light like a sandwich, mix it up. Maybe treat yourself once a week. Here in the union, we get paid once a week, so treat yourself every payday or something. Say if you get paid on Fridays, then maybe just every Friday for lunch, all right, I'm gonna buy myself something good today. Get yourself a good lunchbox, like a good size lunchbox, so then you're able to stuff like a good amount of things. If you're gonna commute and you're gonna drive for quite some time after work, like an hour and up, recommend probably packing some snacks while you're driving. Also, get to know your coworkers, because at the end of the day, that's going to be your family. That's going to be people that you're going to see more than your family at times. So be very respectful. And also, kind of like an interesting story is, the people that you like dislike, you never know, down the road you might end up liking them. And then the people that you thought were really cool aren't the people, they're people that you end up disliking. So Just always try to be really respectful with everyone, be very smart, and be very wise with how you're gonna talk in front of everyone, because it's always an interview. Even once you're in the trades, down the road when that project is over with, they're gonna remember you. I know someone who's really good with like talking, communicative skills. I know someone who's really good with the hammer. I know someone who's really good with the grade all. Someone who's good at operating, keeping clean, keeping the house clean, like keeping the project site really clean. I know someone who's really good at being bilingual, but not only that, they're really punctual, they're here on time, they're honest, positive, good worker. So there's always things that you never know, and then maybe that person that you were rude to ends up being your boss, or vice versa, you might end up being the boss. So just always be really nice and humble about everything, and most importantly, just always stay driven. You know, it's tough because life is it's a roller coaster. Everyone thinks that that life's always going to be really good, or we assume this Hollywood-esque lifestyle that we're going to be living flashy and lavishly, and that we're going to, I don't know, live happily ever after. Just always try to be disciplined, because if you want people to take yourself seriously, you have to be consistent. So I genuinely want to apologize to everyone who's watching this video as well, because I haven't been consistent in my YouTube channel, and I'm just gonna let my actions speak for me. You know, talk is cheap. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching these videos. When I started this channel, like I had a good feeling, like, you know, it would blow up sooner or later, and I'm not saying that it's blown up right now, because it's nowhere near where I envisioned it to be. Like, honestly, like, I see myself getting 1 million subscribers, but I have to be very consistent and very disciplined in what I want to do. So if you have a vision, work for it, right? So for example, this year, like, I want to work to save up $100,000. Even though, like, a lot of people are going to be like, that's really unrealistic, like, I'm just going to find a way. Like, the most important thing that you have to realize is just, a lot of people are always just going to stay in the sidelines and look at you just do things, and just gonna be like, oh man, like, he's trying to get a six-pack. Oh, he's trying to deadlift like 500 pounds. Like, that's unrealistic. Oh, he's trying to bench press 250 pounds. Like, that's so hard. Like, and he's only 5'6". He's only like 4 feet tall. Like, there's always people on the sidelines, and they never end up putting in the work that you're putting in. So let them talk, let them critique you. Just soak it all in and use it as motivation. Like, let them, you know, like, there's always gonna be haters out there. But the most important thing is, what are you gonna do about them? Are you gonna prove them right with everything that they're saying, or are you gonna prove them wrong? And let me tell you, proving people wrong is so amazing, because you don't even have to tell them anything. They're just gonna see it and just be like, wow, like, I was wrong, but I still hate them. But the most important thing is that you're happy and you can walk away like a champion. So thank you guys for watching this video. All the honor, glory be to God. God bless you guys. Stay safe. And until next time, hasta luego. Saluda mi gente. Dios me lo bendiga. Hasta luego. Chao.